This lesson is Advanced CSS Layout. In this lesson, you'll learn how to enhance a basic CSS navigation bar by creating styles for the list elements. Additionally, you'll learn how to create a unique style for the navigation bar that indicates to the user which page they're currently on. Now, this lesson is intended for viewers who need to learn the basics of HTML and CSS or simply need a refresher. Lessons specifically related to HTML5 begin with our Lesson 6 video using HTML5 markup. So to begin with, you want to open the 05 start.html file located in the 05 lessons folder. And our goal here is to turn this very basic navigation bar up top into something a little more interesting. Right now it's functional, however it doesn't match very well with the rest of our design. So let's take a look at the code. And first we'll look at the HTML. Of course, this is a standard of CSS navigation at this point. This entire navigation bar was created with an unordered list. Every single list item in here is a separate navigation section. Back here in our styles, we have a number of styles in the main nav and the main nav list rules that create the current setup. So, the first thing we'll do is modify this to change the colors. For the background color in the main nav, I'm going to use a different color than the one that's currently set up. I'll type in 60668B. And for the height, I'm going to reduce this slightly to 35 pixels. In the main nav list rule, I'm going to also change the height here to 35. And I'm going to change the background color as well. Finally, the last value I'll change here is the line height. I'll turn that to 35. Let's go ahead and save this file and take a look at what we've done in the browser. I'm going to press reload, and here we can see the changes that we've made. So we're heading in the right direction. We have the color blue here. So we're heading in the right direction. We have this light color blue that's now on each of these list items, and we have a dark purple background for the entire navigation bar. But still, we want to do a little bit more and start styling these hyperlinks here. So to do that, we're going to go back to our code, and we're going to add the following rule after main nav list. So you're going to create a specific rule for hyperlinks inside of a list, inside of the main nav section. Now in my case, I'm going to cheat a little bit and steal the code from a text file I have handy. I'm going to take this entire code and we'll take a look at it shortly. So here's the rule. We're simply saying the color of these hyperlinks should be white, and we're going to remove the text decoration by saying none. Let's go ahead and save that, take a look at it in the browser by reloading, and we're in good shape. But I want a little bit more here. Whenever I hover over these hyperlinks, I want them to change color. So this is a special attribute of hyperlinks called a pseudoclass. We're going to go ahead now and add that pseudoclass rule by going into our code. And again, I'm going to take this code here, copy it, and place it immediately after the rule I just added. So in this case, it's essentially the same rule as the one we did earlier, although this time we have a:hover. So the hover state is simply the state when a user places their cursor over a hyperlink, and we're telling the background color as well as the color of the link to change. So let's save this, reload our page, and take a look at what we have. You'll see the color change to yellow and this dark purple background appear as well. And this is almost there, although what I really want is I want the entire section of, for example, this recipes section to turn dark blue. Right now, it's only limited to the height and width of the hyperlink. So in order to change that, we're going to add another property and value. In this case, we're going to say within the ULLI hover section, display block. So essentially what you're saying here is that you want this hyperlink to be displayed as a block element, not an inline element. Let's see what this does. We'll go back to our browser, reload, hover, and now we're getting what we want. The entire list lights up because it's being treated as a block element. Now the last thing I'd like to do is, since I'm on the home page here, I'd like this home navigation to be lit up when the user first comes to the page. Right now, everything is turned off. In other words, all of these states are exactly the same. So in order to accomplish this, we have to do a little bit of CSS work. Let's go back to our code and begin doing that. First, if we remember the HTML we looked at earlier in the exercise, we can see this unordered list simply has hyperlinks to HTML pages. Now these HTML pages don't actually exist yet, and that's just fine. We can think of them as placeholders. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my code here, and I'm going to take this code that I created earlier, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to replace this entire section with that code. Now, the only one you really need to pay attention to for this exercise is the first one. Although keep in mind that all these other list items also have what we're looking for, which is a separate class. So we've added a class called nav_home. Now what we'd like to do is create a specific ID for this page and this page only. So to do that, we're going to go up to the top and locate our body tag. In the body tag, we're going to type the following: ID equals home. So we're giving this page, start.html, a specific ID. Now we're going to create a specific style for this page, and also a specific style for the class called nav_home on this page. So this code looks something like the following. I'm going to go into my text document, take this code, and we'll take a look at it now. So this code might look a little complicated if you're not used to CSS syntax, but it's actually fairly easy to understand. The first section says we're creating a style for the home ID in the body tag. The second section says we're also creating a style specifically for the class called nav_home in that same section. And what are we saying in here? Well, we're simply changing the background color and the color itself. We're also including that same display block rule that we added earlier. So again, just to connect the dots here, that rule will only apply to this list item and this list item only. This is the list item for the home section. Let's take a look at this in our browser. We'll reload, and there you have it. So now the home section is lit up. Of course, we still have all of our other rollovers as well. Of course, the next step that you would need to do is add that same ID name to all those individual pages and create styles as well. However, that's it for now. In this lesson, you learned how to enhance a basic CSS navigation bar by creating styles for the list elements.